and go.
All right, man. What's up, Noah?
What's up, George?
How's it going?
How's it going, dude? Good.
It's going good.
Very
No,
good.
it's going great. I'm
Good. How
doing.
was your day?
It was good.
Good. That's good, George. Very
Yeah.
glad.
How was your day?
It's good, man. It was a good day.
That's good.
Now,
Yeah,
what are we
that's
talking
good.
about today?
Dude, I feel like that was like the normal exchange between like people that you kind of know, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Noah, how are you? How's your day going?"
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
Good,
Good.
good. Yeah, okay. Oh, we should hang out sometime. Yeah, 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 we should.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, good.
That's how normal. That's how normal people communicate, George.
Yes. And then you never talk again until the next time you run into each other at the grocery store.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's how it works. It's always just like, yeah. Isn't it funny how we make plans or whatever, and then we're like, oh, do we got to like this morning? I had a customer come to the house to pick up something I built, and we chatted for a while, and I'm like, talking with this person that I used to be. I mean, we're good friends. I just haven't seen him in years, and I'm sitting there like, we're just catching up, and I'm like, yeah, let's get together, let's hang out. She's like, yeah, we got to get together, we got to hang out, and I'm like really hoping I do, but I feel like I say that all the time to
Yeah.
people when I'm talking to them, and I never do it. So maybe I should change that. Maybe I should start
Do you
following
do you
up.
think there is a person out there though that legitimately sees somebody makes plans like, "Hey, we should hang out. Yeah, let's do it like tomorrow." I think people would lose their mind. They'd be like, "No, no, oh, I can't do it tomorrow because I got a thing. I got a thing in the
Oh
morning."
yeah.
I
No, but
don't.
like making it. Well, you can pick up like on, if somebody doesn't want to hang out with you, you can pick up on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like to like really pursue it, man. I put people off for years that that continuously hit me up.
Yeah. For
Oh, I
years.
feel so bad about that. I can think of two people off the top of my head that I haven't seen in a long time that hit me up still wanting to hang out.
Yeah.
And I don't, and it's not that I dislike them, and it's not that I even don't want to hang out with them. I don't know why I do that.
I wonder why, dude, because I'm the same way. I have friends that I actually want to hang out with. Like people that would be fantastic to have in my life. And I'm like, "Hey, we should hang out like this weekend." Those people are like, "Hell yeah." And we never do. We say that
You
every
never do.
week. Every week. We're like, "Hey, let's hang out." Yeah, let's do it. And then we never do it.
Oh, dude, the best is like if you have like a beer or two
Yeah.
with your friends. That's like all you guys say. That's like all that's said for the whole night. All right, we all got to get together. We got to do this. We got to do that. It's like makes you so like one or two beers makes you so optimistic.
About life and
Yeah,
friendship.
yeah, man.
But like 6 or 7 beers doesn't, you're pretty pessimistic. Or I want to throw up. No, that's
I
not
want to
7 beers.
throw
That's like 30 beers, 20 beers maybe.
up 30 beers, man. Oh gosh, 30 beers. You're getting stomach pumped with charcoal in the hospital.
Hey, I would
Right.
like to see somebody like be optimistic through that experience though. Like,
Right.
I love you. Thank you for the charcoal.
I think I'm gonna make it.
What? Yeah, it's kind of crazy, dude. I wonder why. Um, because I used to get like that a lot when I was in high school when I'd go to parties, and I would just drink until I was sick.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was pretty bad though, and I thought I had a weak stomach. They used to call me George Pukerson. That's a. I think I just had an intolerance to alcohol because I would go out with, I was kind of in the country, and when I was in high school, we had a small high school. So we'd be having this huge bonfire in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. I don't know, dude. I'd have, like a couple shots and 6 beers, and the next thing you know, I'm like, hey, I'll be mid conversation, like, oh yeah, I went out and I shot a deer. Oh.
George Peterson.
And then
George
we put the deer
Peterson.
in the back of my truck, and I
Oh,
would.
you really did shoot a deer.
No, I've never shot a deer. I'm just giving you an example.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I would
That'd
stop. I would stop in like mid conversations when I was at parties and just puke. I've never
Wow.
really puked on myself. I've always made it to a toilet or something.
I remember when I was in high school, I didn't. I only ever partied towards the end of high school, like a little tiny bit at the beginning in ninth grade. But then I was like, would like hit these like I hit these like tiers or like I don't know whatever you call them,
Yeah.
transitions, seasons, whatever. I had like I was crazy right when we came into high school, and then like 10th and 11th grade, I remember, I straightened out. I got really involved in youth group. I was hanging out with like my Christian friends and like didn't party at all. I had a really solid girlfriend in 11th grade, and then but like senior year was nuts, man. I just totally went off the walls. I broke up with that girl broke up with me, and then I was like, oh. But I remember I would go to parties with my friends, and it was always a competition to see, who drank the most beers. But it was always a lie because we were only having like one or two, three
Yeah.
beers. We're so young that it was like making you drunk really quickly.
Right.
And I remember I remember my friend Bacon caught Ferry pouring out his beers outside so he could come back in and like brag about how he drank so
Yeah, how
many
he drank
beers.
so many beers. Dude, I had a friend that he didn't drink at the time, and we'd go to parties. He would get a can, an empty can. He would spot one and then go to the sink and clean it out and fill it up with water. And he would walk around drinking beer,
It's
water out
genius.
of a beer can. 'Cause he didn't want to. Because people would always be like, "Oh, you're here. Here's a beer." He's like, "Oh, nope, got one right here. This is my fourth one." You know. But no, it's kind of crazy to me. High school was horrible, a horrible time for me. I I was nuts, dude. I went absolutely insane. I had a lot of trauma in my childhood. I had a pretty awful childhood and upbringing. And I feel like when you go through puberty, it's like all that stuff comes out. It's like you're blasted, or I was blasted with it. And I just fell in with that crew, man. The crew that would go out and party all the time. We partied like every weekend. But also, like, I went through a lot of phases. So I was like an emo kid. So yeah, I listened to like hardcore music. I'd mosh,
George Pukertons was
Yeah.
an emo kid.
Oh yeah, dude. And the hard part was is I've always been a pretty like built guy. I was in football, but I had like hair and that would come down like across my eyes that I would get it out of my face. And
You were an emo kid. That's
dude,
crazy.
I was emo in every sense of the word. Like, cut my wrists and black my eyes. Cut my wrists and black my eyes.
You
Dude,
listen, I love that music.
Hawthorne Heights, dude.
I still listen to hardcore.
I just, the thing was, but I was on the football team, so when I would wear my chick pants, because at the time that was a cool thing to wear in that group of people, my thighs were massive because my deadlift was very impressive.
You have naturally large thighs, George.
I'm pretty built, man. 6'1". I'm a pretty built guy naturally.
You're thick in the thigh district.
Well, it was pretty unfortunate for me because I just wanted to be a skinny, feminine emo girl. Not an emo girl, but an emo kid. I wanted to be the kind of kid that had like feathers in his hair and a cool MySpace picture.
Oh my god, dude, that's bad.
Dude, I was in a rough spot. The first time I met my high school girlfriend's dad, I was sitting on her floor straightening my hair. And that was the first time we met. He came in and he was like,
oh my god.
Hey. I was
He
like,
probably looked at you. He probably
Hey.
looked at his daughter. What's that?
hey. I don't know. Man, I had no guidance though. You know what I mean? Like I had no one in my life that was telling me that, hey George, like reel it in.
Right.
So, which I feel like is like a critical moment for a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's like the moment.
Yeah.
So I went off the deep end when I was in 8th grade. This sounds kind of crazy because it was like little kid stuff, but at the time it was really important. So like I was super suicidal, extremely traumatized, and I actually got in a fight with this kid, and a huge fight, huge blowout, and then I started getting messages on MySpace from high schoolers telling me they're going to kill me. They're like, when you step foot on campus, I was in 8th grade. When you step foot on campus, you're going to die. We will kill you. I was an 8th grader.
Dang.
Yeah, it was hardcore. Like I'm saying, man, I had a pretty hardcore experience in high school. And so that kind of set the pace for my high school, you know, experience. And but yeah, dude, high school was nuts. I don't understand when people say that it was a good time, when like their glory years.
Dude, I did not like high school. High school was not a great time either. I hated
Yeah.
it. And I was yeah, I feel like, in high school, like, just a bunch of super hormonal teenagers that are learning how to speak
Right.
and socialize. It's like you're wrestling with society, or you're wrestling with your peers in conversation and just life, and then on top of it, you're just a super, super insecure person.
Yeah. You have
Everybody's
no point of reference for like who you are as an
oh,
individual, because 5 years ago you were but a babe, you know,
just a babe,
and now you have
just a
like
little
hair on your armpits and a mustache, and you're like,
yeah.
what do I do with this? You know,
What do I do?
what have I done?
Yeah,
I remember the day
no.
my voice dropped. I remember it. I was in honor
The
choir.
day.
Yeah, I was in honor choir. I was a soprano in choir, 7th grade. And one day I walked in, I'm singing my part in choir, and I'm just like, oh. And the next day she's like, bleh. And I'm like, oh, what has happened to me?
Oh,
What
dude,
have I done?
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't remember any of that, dude. I lived the first, like, part of my life was lived through, like, animal synapses. I, like, don't
it's just
remember thinking, you know?
animalistic.
I was.
Howie, hungry.
Howie, hungry,
Feed
Howie, need food.
Howie.
Dude, I feel like that's how it was, though. Like, I think back, and I'm like, man, I was a simple beast
Right,
back then.
primal.
Just an
I was pretty
animal.
primal. I was emotional.
I
Yeah, I was very emotional.
I was emotional too. I think I noticed that I definitely was probably more emotional than a lot of my peers.
Yeah. Yeah, I would listen to Blink 182 and lay on my. I didn't have a bed because I had a drum set because I was in a band, and I couldn't fit a bed and a drum set in my room, so I just put a couch in there and slept on that through like freshman sophomore year, and I would just lay on my couch and listen to Blink 182 until like 3 a.m. if I wasn't playing World of Warcraft, because I had a really bad World of Warcraft addiction,
Oh, most
as
people
well.
do or have had one.
And so I would do that, and I would cry. I don't know. I would just weep. Dude, I was sad. I was a sad kid, man.
That's
I was,
terrible.
I had an awful life, you know, an upbringing, and um, people in my life were just really broken at the time. Um, but I did have good friends. I had some really great friends in high school. I think back on it, and I'm like, I was pretty fortunate because it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm still like best friends with a bunch of my peers from high school.
Yeah,
I have like I got like five I can think on the top of my head that I hang out with at least once a month still, and a lot of them are, and like, it's crazy because I actually don't hang out with anybody that's like, I haven't seen people that have gone off the deep end for a while. Like,
really.
there's a couple guys that I went to school with that I was really, really tight with, but now they're like, they got into like drug addictions, and I haven't seen them
Right.
in years. The friends that I hang out with now all, like, have jobs, and some of them are engaged, and some of them are planning on getting engaged, and they got it together, which is cool to see that so many people are
Yeah.
getting it together. I still have a couple that I hang out with that are still a little wild.
Yeah, I have actually the town that I'm from, man, there's still a lot of people doing the same stuff, you know. And we're
Yeah.
young. We're young. I mean, I guess they have a little while to figure it out, but
How big is your
um,
town?
it's not very big. Cuz when I was a teenager, maybe like 12, I moved up to the mountains and in a town called Oakhurst.
Oakhurst.
So it's
Okay.
right outside of Yosemite. It's pretty nice little town. You know, if you're retired and had a career or have one. Um, so it's probably about I would say 20,000 people, but like spread out over the mountains. So and it was
Wow. That
yeah,
is.
yeah. I mean, it was like it was a magnifying glass. You know what I mean? Everybody there knew everyone else, and like my family had a horrible reputation. Like there were girls that I would talk to in high school, and their parents would be like, "You can't talk to that kid. That kid is
Wow.
yeah," and they would because of my family name, you know. Um, and yeah, it was a pretty tough time. I think back on it and like I really wish that I could have done high school differently because I ended up dropping out the beginning of my junior year. That I would change that for sure, you know.
Sure.
But I was
Yeah.
pretty broken kid, you know. There's a lot of them out there
I
still today.
I remember going to visit your hometown with you that one time. Um, my favorite part about your hometown was even in the summer at night it dropped down. It got like super cold.
Yeah.
It's just super nice because at the time we were living in Los Angeles, and I don't know if you've ever been to hell, but they people from that live in hell go to Los Angeles for vacation.
Yeah, Los Angeles is crazy, dude. But the high
Oh
country
wait,
gets pretty hot too. And you're right, at night it does get pretty chill, but you know,
that
again,
joke I screwed that joke up so.
it's fun. It's fun. I was trying to recover. I was like, all right, move
Yeah,
on. Um,
no, I was gonna own it.
yeah, dude, high school. I don't really understand. Like the thing that I don't understand about high school and people that you know look back at high school. I don't understand how people weren't aware that like they're going through hormonal changes. You know, I look back on
Oh
it now
yeah,
and I'm like, man, puberty rocked me. And then it's like, when you're in high school, why don't you think? And there's some people that do, right? Some people know they have it figured out. Maybe a small few, but but nobody's thinking like, man, I'm feeling and thinking this way because my hormones are just driving me and making me a lunatic. Because they
oh
are.
yeah. I felt nobody was self-realized in high school, man. I'll tell you what, I had a particularly difficult time in high school because I have diagnosed ADHD, which I know a lot of people are like they debate whether it's a real thing or not.
No, it's
And
a fake thing, Noah. It's fake.
I can tell you, it is a real thing. My siblings recall the time because you can grow out of it and you
Yeah,
chill out,
yeah,
and I've grown out of it a lot and chilled out. When I was in high school, I was a ball of levitating energy that
yeah.
could, yeah, and I could teleport. It was amazing. My sister will tell you to this day, I was like on one of my ADHD trips.
Episode's an
And I was
episode.
an episode, and I was in the kitchen, and I was like just freaking out, and I was like, "Hey guys, check this out!" And I jumped from the ground onto the counter, but they said that I did it like with my legs straight, like I levitated,
Oh my
like from the ground to the
god,
counter, and
that's
they were like
outrageous.
shocked. The
Yeah,
counter in the kitchen, yeah. And so and I had a hard time in school because I just could not focus.
right.
Um, and I hated math and I hated English and I didn't want to ever do any of my homework and I hated school and I didn't care about it at all the whole time.
Yeah,
And I took Adderall. Adderall helped me get through like my first three classes, and then the rest of the classes for the rest of the day didn't care about. And I just remember only liking weight training, which was where you lifted weights, and my art classes because I was an artist. And
yeah,
if it, there's things that I did to help me, but anyways, so I really hated the school part. It was after school where I had fun, where I enjoyed like
yeah.
my extracurriculars, or I mean, hanging out with my friends
Hmm.
was like where I thrived, and that part of high school was good. But yeah, I had a hard time in high school, and with learning, and eventually I don't know. Have you ever heard of Votech?
No, I've not.
Have you? It's like instead of going to high school, you can go to learn a trade.
Oh, dude, that sounds good. No, I've never heard of that.
Oh, dude, I did Votech. So my junior and so half of my junior and half of my senior year, one
Mm-hmm.
semester, I went to a completely different building, but it was like right next to where my high school was.
Right.
It's called Votech, and it's the Votech for the county. So all the other county schools go to this one as well. So
Yeah.
everyone from other schools hop on a bus, and I could just walk over because it
Dude,
was
that
right
sounds
next.
great. I wonder why. Like my high school we had like a
I bet they
mechanic.
have it now.
Yeah, maybe we had a mechanic shop. Just you can go learn how to work on stuff. That's about
Oh,
it.
that's kind of like the same deal. They had a lot of options at the one I went to. They had software design, they had machinist class, they had mechanic, they had diesel mechanic, they had HVAC, they had nursing, they had
Dude, that's so
cooking,
cool. That's awesome.
culinary arts. I took landscape design and construction.
Yeah, how'd that turn out for you?
It was great because the teacher that taught my class also taught floral design.
All
And
right.
so and the floral design was mostly girls were in that class,
Yeah.
and they were doing flower arrangements and making stuff for weddings. But the cool thing is that people would actually hire the school to make floral designs for their wedding at a
Really?
cheap price.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And so they were doing real stuff, like real orders,
Yeah.
and we were like learning how to like lay bricks and like measure out like landscaping stuff and learning. We had to memorize the names of trees. I still remember the most complicated tree name. It's for the yellow cypress, and
Okay.
the genus name for the yellow cypress is Chame cyparis obtusa tetragonia. I'll never forget.
Wow, dude,
Uh,
that's like a party trick. Hey, you know
yeah,
what a yellow cypress is called? To petuna champina snapiness.
dude, I will literally drive past a yellow cypress with anybody, and every time I'm like, look, that's a Chame cyparis obtusa tetragonia.
Yeah.
That's like the thing I can hold on to, and
Wow.
that's what I in that class.
Well,
But then we did.
I'm glad you learned in high school, dude. That was
Well,
cool.
yeah, I learned that class was fun because it was really hands on. We got to do some cool stuff. I learned how to drive a tractor
Right.
in landscape, and we got to go out and we like to learn how to drive a tractor. He had a big giant pile of dirt, and we would move the pile of dirt from one side of the yard to like the other. And
Yeah.
I
That's
really enjoyed
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had gators and we were planting trees. I don't know, we did things, but the last like I remember one of the last days of school, all the auto mechanic service was right next to us, and they were all working on cars. And we had a 60 psi air compressor, and we used to put those little American flags, like the little Fourth of July flags,
Yeah.
with like a cotton ball in there, and then shove an American flag in there and like roll it up. And we'd shoot them at the mechanics while they were working.
Yeah. Dude, that's
It's
funny.
so dangerous, dude.
I know.
Yeah, we got caught doing it too, and he wasn't even that mad. He was a
I,
pretty cool teacher.
I remember I had a couple of teachers that were really awesome. I was a terror. I was a terror to have in class. I would get kicked out of class all the time. I just couldn't stop talking. See, I'm diagnosed ADD and depression, um, and that was recently. I was surprised that I went through high school before someone like, nobody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "George, I think you got a problem. I think we need to figure that
Yeah,
out." You know what I mean? I think because I was a little bit too emotional and too distracted. Like someone should have. And it kind of like I work with high schoolers now and I work with youth and stuff and it makes me wonder like what did my teachers know about me and my family, because they knew. Teachers talk. They go in the room and the teachers lounge and they just sit there and they're like, you can't believe these people are dating again and they're not going to focus on class, and you know what I mean, like they talk about stuff.
yeah.
So I wonder what they were saying about me, you know. And
They were doing anything to like encourage you or help you out or anything like that, or do
you
you think that
looking back on it, like I had a teacher, my music teacher, Mr. Hyatt, dude. He was a good cool guy. He was a good guy. But he knew my family from a church that we went to for like a couple weeks. For some reason, my dad decided he wanted to be Christian for a couple weeks
oh, that's awesome.
or some time. And he but anyhow, Mr. Hyatt, dude, he tried his best, man. But I would sleep in his class. I would just crawl into it. It was a wind ensemble. It was a band class. And I would just go in there and I would fall asleep in his class at the back of the room and just lay down and go to sleep. And,
That's awesome.
And he would just kind of leave me alone. I don't know if he gave up on me or if, I don't know what that was about, but he gave me some leeway. There were people I feel like it's hard to look in hindsight because, like high school me thinks all my teachers sucked, right?
Right.
Like I look back and I'm like, oh man, all my teachers sucked. They were a-holes.
Oh,
but now I'm like looking back and I'm like, man, these people put up with this scumbag. Like I was the worst of the worst in school. And I gave them a run for their money. I was pretty terrible.
Really, I wasn't that bad. I was pretty well behaved, unless I feel like I was being treated unfairly.
Right.
Which I don't I can think of a couple times when I retaliated, but it was mostly just to be funny in front of my friends or whatever, make a scene. Yeah, but I had a cool teacher like the one you're talking about. Miss Jones, I think it's her name. I used to leave in the middle of class, like I was going to the bathroom, and I would just go to Taco Bell, just drive to Taco Bell, and come back with a bag of Taco Bell, and sit down and eat it. And she'd say a word, man. It's funny because when I graduated, my second to youngest brother Abraham had her. She hated him, but he's like way more laid back, way more well behaved, not crazy at all. She just hated him because she made Abraham had a lot of influence in high school.
Yeah.
And him and all of his friends were in the play, right?
Right.
And he has a lot of friends. He's like very popular. He had a lot of friends. And then she like called him out in class really unjustly because everyone was talking, but she chose to pick him out and make an example out of him.
Yeah.
And she like freaked out on him, and then she made him stand up in front of the class to sing the song that she was playing the piano to, and he was like, "I'm not singing the song." He's like, "I'm not singing in front of everybody as punishment." And then she shamed him in front of the entire class, and then he made all of his friends leave the play.
Dang, dude! Wow, that's hardcore, man.
Yeah, he was actually great.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many teachers I know that tried. I just I wish I could go back in time and just be like, thank you, thank you for all you're doing. I'm sorry that things are the way they are. Maybe I can do that now. Hey, things were crazy back then. Hey, if you're a teacher and we were in high school together, and you were my teacher in high school, and I gave you crap, I'm sorry. I was going through stuff. That was horrible and awful, and you were trying to do your best as a teacher. There it is. That's my sorry to teachers. Man, I feel bad for teachers, especially today. I feel awful.
I had a lot of teachers who liked me, but I have a couple teachers that I really just didn't like at all. I've had there's some bad teachers out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's good teachers that have bad days.
Yeah. Or bad weeks. I have bad weeks.
Because they gotta be there, Oh, dude, I had a teacher die. Not in class, but like halfway through the semester, he just died, and they were like,
dang,
we gotta get another teacher."
Could you imagine?
It was for math.
Isn't it weird how there's this weird magical force field at school where it's like teachers aren't real people, they don't exist outside of school, like when you're in high school, it's like the teachers have this room that they walk into this portal to another dimension in which they live. But sometimes you'll catch them at the grocery store, and you're like, whoa, I don't know how to respond to this situation because you're in normal
they look
clothes.
like wild animals. You're like, what? Is that?
Can you? Miss Solomon likes Doritos, man. I saw her buy a whole bag of Doritos in the grocery store.
Look outside of school? Wow, that's crazy.
Can you believe Mr. Rich wears flannels? Crazy.
Dude, one of my favorite classes was chemistry.
Yeah.
Because I had a really good, cool chemistry teacher. His name was Mr. Hoffman. And he blew stuff up all the time.
Yeah.
He's famous because he was a chemist for a company that tested um, like gas sensors and pressure sensors,
Yeah.
and they literally had this big dome. It was like a $20,000 pressure dome that you could blow stuff up in, and it he filled it with like hydrogen or something and blew it up and shattered it to
Wow.
pieces at
That's
his
awesome.
job. Yeah, before he came to the work at the high school, and he was into all kinds of cool stuff. There was a band that he introduced me to that I still listen to today called
Wow.
They Might Be Giants. Have you heard them? They sing
I
science
think
music.
so.
Dude, you definitely have.
I
They're
have.
they're they're freaking killer. We would listen to them in class. We did we like I don't know, man. We had fun science experiments. I remember though that was senior year. I remember me and my buddy used to do dip in class.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do snuff back in the day when it
Yeah,
came out.
and we would like spit it into a drawer
Oh, dude, you
and
guys
like
are.
filled the drawer up with
That's
like spit.
disgusting, dude. That's
It was so
absolutely
gross.
disgusting.
I can't believe we did that, dude. The things that happened in high school,
Yeah, you're like a legitimate health hazard.
dude. We no, that was nothing, dude.
I had a
That's
really cool science. What is it with science teachers, man? Like everyone thinks the art teachers are cool, but it's really, there's science teachers. The chance of being cool is way greater because they can do cool
dude.
stuff. They can blow stuff up, light stuff on fire. I had a cool science teacher. His name was Mr. Sconce. And I played.
The German.
Yeah, I played. I used to play video games with him. He was in World of Warcraft. We'd play together all the time. Yeah, yeah, and he's a woman now because he transitioned, but I
Wow.
forgot his name, her name, or I forgot how this person
Forgot
identifies.
you forgot their name.
Yeah, is your name? I
Zero.
forgot. I forgot how this person identifies, man. And so I think I accidentally said something about the transition to somebody else, and they won't accept my friend request on Facebook, so I kind of forgot their new name. Um, yeah, yeah. But anyhow, they were really cool, man. I really liked them, and their family was awesome, and I think that's one of the teachers that really tried to reach out. I passed. He's one of the only classes I passed, and so then I took it again just for fun.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. And then you could do that. I
I
had a
didn't.
cool art teacher. I made a Bob Marley sculpture in art, and I
Yeah,
put a joint in his mouth,
nice.
right?
Yeah,
And she totally let me. She was like, "It's art. It's an
it's
expression."
an expression. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like a week later, she sat me down and was like, "Hey, like the principal or somebody came by and they saw that sculpture, and they told me that we need to remove it. So I had to
Okay.
like break it off of my
Dude,
sculpture, and I was so
man.
pissed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one of the most like horrible parts of my high school experience was like I was an overactive sweat person. Like I sweat
Really.
so bad. Yeah, dude. And I had weight training in the morning, right? And then I would get nervous because I knew that I was gonna sweat, and then got nervous because I knew I was gonna sweat, so I'd sweat even more. And
Yeah.
so I'd do weight training and I'd be good, and then I'd like out, and I like always had to like double up on shirts because
Wow.
I would sweat so bad. And
That
I
sucks,
remember
dude.
like having to like go to the bathroom and sit in the stall and just wait until I cooled off with my shirt off in the stall.
Yeah.
And I just remember people like commenting on it because I was like you could like I would wear like some shirts and I would sweat so bad you could start to see through them,
Yeah.
and they'd be like you should wear an undershirt or something like that, and I was just like so ashamed. But I do, man. I sweat so bad. I still
Yeah.
do, but I just don't care anymore.
Right.
But I did then. It was traumatic.
Hey, I think your cam went unfocused. There we go. That's good. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I failed. I had a GPA of 1.6.
Wow.
Yeah, 1.6 GPA. Yeah, dude. High school was a crazy experience, dude. We had a couple people die in high school. They were cool people. Uh, and that rocked us, man. That rocked our whole high school. I've had a lot of people from my high school pass on, dude. It's kind of crazy. Like I feel like every
Wow.
year someone goes that I went to school with. Like I don't know if someone can answer in the comments, is that just being are we old? Does that happen now? You know, where you just reach an
Oh,
age
dude,
where people just
sure it
start
does.
dying? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, what is it? You had a drug problem in your town, right? Like a
Yeah,
serious one.
yeah. It's still kind of bad, actually.
Yeah.
It's still kind of bad, but I think it might get better. It might be getting better. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy when you go through Facebook. Have you gone through Facebook and tried to find people in your high school, and they look
No,
old?
dude, I didn't. That's another thing, dude. I did not know the names of anybody in high school. Like,
Oh, really?
no, dude, I didn't know anybody. And it's crazy because my buddy Ryan knows everybody. And
Yeah.
Ryan was my neighbor. So, and he was like my gateway into high school because when I moved to Maryland and I moved right next to Ryan, and then I went over and started hanging out with him. We became friends like right before he went to school in my first year there, and he had like introduced me to everybody, and he knew, and he still to this day he like knows everybody.
Yeah,
And
he's one of those people.
I'll go to an event or I'll be in public, and I have people come up and be like, they're like, "Hey Noah, what's up, dude?" And I'll look at them and I'm like, genuinely have no clue who they are
Wow.
or how I know them, but they know me. They even have
Yeah.
memories with. Like they're like, remember that one time we did this and that, and I'm like, whoa, dude, my mind just went to something different. Can we talk about it?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Not different, but did you ever have to take the bus to school?
Yeah, man, my dad used to go to work at 4 a.m.
Oh,
and he was the only one that watched us. And so we had a mile-long dirt road and had to go catch the bus. I had to walk a mile down the dirt road and catch the bus at the end of the road. Like no matter the weather, it could be, 30 degrees out. And I got to walk down a mile to catch the bus and go to school.
did you ever do anything crazy on the bus?
I do that. Well, it depends what you mean by crazy, Noah.
Dude, we used to smoke cigarettes on the bus.
Oh yeah, dude. That's crazy. I thought that was like, what else are you gonna do, man? I rode the
We
bus
used
for
to
40
throw.
minutes.
We used to throw. Oh, dude, this is one of the funniest things I've ever been a part of. Okay.
Okay.
Some of the times on the bus were the funniest times that I've ever experienced. There's this kid named Chris that rode our bus, and I remember we like at the end of the year when everyone's all pumped up because it's like the last day of school or the last week of school,
Right.
and everyone's like chived, and we got this kid Chris to chuck a full can of Mountain Dew out the window at this like oncoming slug bug,
Oh man.
and he did.
Oh no.
And then that the slug bug, like the little car, like followed the bus to Chris's bus stop, and then he gets off the bus, and this giant bodybuilder gets out of the. He
Oh,
gets out of
rest in peace, Chris.
he gets out of the buggy, and he's like this big giant bald guy. And he walks on the bus and he's like, "Who threw that coke can?" And we all just pointed at Chris while he walked into
Oh,
his
dude, you
house.
snitched on Chris, man.
I don't know if I did. I just remember that happening. I don't know if I egged him on to do it or if he did it, but that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Dude, that's
Because
hardcore.
that he got in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, high school was crazy. It was a crazy time. Crazy time.
Everybody was smoking on the bus, huh?
I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
Do you even remember being on the bus in the morning? I don't remember a single morning on the bus.
Yeah, I mean, I had to take it morning. I sleep a lot. I had to take the bus in the morning and I had to take it in the afternoon. And so I had to take the late bus because I had football practice when I was allowed to play. 'Cause sometimes I couldn't get my GPA up high enough.
Oh gosh, I hated sports, man. I hate sports still. Still
Really?
hate sports.
I
I
like it.
couldn't like the only reason I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl is because I like put $30 on Squares this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I like,
Just like
when I lived in Kenya, in Nairobi, they have the Nairobi Sevens, which are, it's a rugby team, but it's a fast-paced seven-man rugby team. Dude, if you watch rugby, I think you would like sports, man. Rugby is reminiscent of ancient battle. It looks like there is battle to be done.
I like UFC. I almost said that I like WWE wrestling, and then we would have had a problem.
I
But
think, watch what you're going to say, man. We're going to lose half of our subscribers, all 6 of them.
we're gonna gain a whole bunch of subscribers, but they're not gonna be able to type words.
Well, they may not be old enough to form words yet, Noah, but
But anyways, I like UFC. I watch a
yeah.
lot of UFC.
Yeah, UFC is cool, man. Joe Rogan says that he feels like UFC is going to phase out in the next 10 years because they do have a lot.
I'd imagine he's probably right. I was just at a wrestling match tonight watching my brother wrestle,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, man, I was like, watch this. You won't wrestling won't last much longer,
Right.
in today's climate.
It's a little it's a little too aggressive. Though when I was on the wrestling team in high school.
You were?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
your floppy emo hair?
Yeah, I was on the wrestling team in my tight pants, floppy emo hair, and
You're just wearing straight up leotards, man.
dude, I wore shirts that were too short. Like I'd wear like mediums, but I'm a tall guy. I'm a big guy, so it's like I would lift up my hand, you could see my belly button.
Ooh.
Yeah, my first day of high school was weird because I walked in, I sat down in class, and there was a new girl I never met from a different school in front of me. She turns around and looks at me and looks me right in the eye and says, "You need to pluck your unibrow." Yeah, so I went home and I've had 2 brows ever
I need
since.
to pluck mine too, dude.
I've had 2 brows ever since. But anyhow, yeah, I was on the wrestling team and I was pretty good. I was pretty good at it. But I think I went to like a competition or something. Dude, they threw a girl in there, and I had to wrestle a girl, and I wasn't gonna get all acrobatic and sweaty with a girl in front of a group of people. It's not something I wanted to do. So I just like forfeited that match. I was like, I'm not gonna wrestle this girl. So I forfeited.
Yeah, oh, dude, apparently, so there's girls on my brother's wrestling team.
Yeah.
And they wrestle against guys, and apparently it's not even funny.
Well, like what's not even funny?
Like the girls get totally clobbered, thrashed around. It's like, I'm like, they'd like allow that to happen? Like they should do that. That's not fair.
Hey, the thing is if you're in like, and here's my opinion on it. If you are in a sport that is all males, and you're a woman and you think you can compete and you can compete well, and you step into a match and you get wrecked, that's on you. You do what you want. You're gonna get wrecked over and over again. If you like getting,
be able to do it if they want, But I figured like it would be cool to make it more fair, like to encourage more girls to do it, or have like a certain number of girls that have to be on the team, and if the number's not met, then
I think this is what I think. I think that they should allow women to have like stiletto nails, the sharp ones, the long ones.
Yeah.
And they hand-to-hand combat, but the men can't do any striking. And that would just keep it interesting. It'll give them an advantage. It'll be a little bit more blood, but I think it'd be more entertaining. They'd have a chance. No, there was a recent thing in the UFC with a trans male to female, and they were just wrecking all the women in the UFC. Oh, they had to be removed. Apparently.
Yeah, I was watching this podcast with Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson, and Joe Rogan was like, man, he's like, I know a couple girls that rock most dudes' worlds.
Right.
He's like, but then you put them up against like a Brock Lesnar, and then it's like, there's some girls that could beat a lot of guys, but then there's some guys that could beat every girl,
Right.
Like no matter how tough you are.
Well, I think when you're at a level in the UFC, where you're actually in the UFC on the octagon, I think most of those guys could probably win against a female. I think it's just a different level of fighting,
Oh yeah, sure. You're a machine.
Yeah. And I think it's like that in a lot of areas because when girls get ripped, dude, they get lean. They get super lean. And it's like, and they could be strong and fast, right? But they get small. They get smaller. And so, but men, dude, men, because of testosterone, we get huge, we get massive, man. Some of the people in the NFL, I encourage you to look up like an NFL player standing next to normal people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're
Giant.
huge. They're huge. There's a guy that I follow. His name's Shane. He's like a world champion. What's that called? Strongman. He's 6'8", 480 pounds.
Wow. You know him?
No, I don't know him personally, but I watch his videos all the time. But he stands next to The Rock, and he dwarfs him.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
dude, he is huge. He's so big. Like you look
I'm
at Andre the Giant, dude.
Oh yeah,
Have you ever seen that guy hold a beer?
Yeah, he drank like 68 beers and he was like just fine, or something crazy like that.
Dude, when that guy holds a beer, it looks like a person's thumb. That's how big the beer can looks. It's
Giant is a dude.
Yeah, it's so small. But man, yeah. Anyhow, dude, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it for the night. It's a little
Yeah,
early,
let's wrap
but
it up. Let's wrap it up. It was good talking about high school.
yeah,
A lot of good stories.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I wanna close though. I wanna close.
All right.
I have a few words to say.
Okay.
If we went to high school together, I'm terribly sorry for my behavior. It was unbecoming of a gentleman. I am not that man anymore. I am
No.
sorry. No, and that's the thing is like I wish I could go through and apologize to everybody I hurt throughout high school because I hurt a lot of people. I was pretty destructive. It was very traumatic. It came from a really terrible upbringing. Experienced a lot of horrible trauma. And then I just kind of took it out on all my friends, and I've seen and all the people that I knew, and I know nobody's probably losing any sleep about it. And these people probably aren't watching this podcast. But I do want to say that, things have changed, and I'm not that person anymore, and I wish I can go back and do things differently, but I can't. So I hope that your life is doing well, people. Thank you for not killing me in my sleep. And that's it. That's all I got. That was my...
That's good, George.
Thank
I
you,
didn't
man.
bully a lot of people in high school, but I wasn't like horrible to people, but I did, I think, pick on a couple people. I picked on this one kid on the bus who ended up being like we ended up becoming really, really good friends,
That's good.
which is crazy.
I wish I still had the same friends I had in high school. I have a couple that I know still.
Yeah.
We're not still close.
Well, it's good. Well, okay, guys, if this podcast got you thinking about high school, hit your friends up if you haven't talked to them in a while. Reach out, see where people are doing, see where people are at. It's crazy
Yeah.
to look back into the past and see what people are up to, especially if you haven't seen them in a really long time, and reconnect.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage it. Absolutely. People are probably still wondering what's going on with you in your life, and if you made close connections then, maybe you can make some connection with them now.
Yeah, I'm gonna start to try to follow through with when I say, "Hey, let's get together." I'm gonna try to actually make it happen
Yeah.
in a smooth way and not like a forceful way.
Not you should still definitely stalk people. Like, hey, bud, let's hang out.
You said you were busy, but you're not. I'm looking at you right now. You're just laying there
In your bed.
in your bed. You're laying there on the couch doing nothing. Liar! You're a liar.
That's so.
Liar.
All right. Well, you guys are beautiful people. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe it. Share it with your friends. And please continue watching. I'm begging you. We need you to validate us. Amen.